Meghan Markle just turned 45. It should have been a happy day. Instead, two brand new scandals landed right on top of her birthday cake. It started with a simple video. On August 2nd, Meghan posted an Instagram story of herself walking through a garden, clipping purple cosmos flowers, and arranging them into a bouquet on her kitchen counter. It looked soft, pretty, and very much like the content she has built her whole brand around. But almost as soon as it went up, people online started pointing at their screens, and not in a good way. Because just days earlier, tradwife influencer Nara Smith had posted an almost identical video. Nara has over 12 million followers on TikTok and nearly 5 million on Instagram. Her video showed her picking wildflowers from a hillside she had planted herself, wearing one of her signature dresses and red gardening clogs, then arranging the blooms into a bouquet in her kitchen. The video passed over 130,000 views. The mood, the shots, and even the flowers looked strikingly close to what Meghan posted right after. Commentator Nancy Sidley was one of the first to call it out publicly. She posted both videos side by side and joked online that Meghan had dropped the Temu version of Nara's post. That line spread fast across social media. Critics piled on hard. One person said Meghan's flower arranging looked just as rough as her cooking. Another said she has no shame and never seems to have an original idea of her own. A third asked why people can just go watch the videos she is supposedly copying for themselves. This wasn't a one-time thing either. Over the past few years, people have compared Meghan's lifestyle content to Martha Stewart, then to Gwyneth Paltrow, and even to Pamela Anderson. Every time she tries a new project, someone online points out it looks a lot like something someone else already did first. That pattern is what makes this sting more than a single flower video ever could. Meghan's whole brand, as ever, is built on the idea of a warm, homemade, effortless lifestyle. Jams, flower sprinkles, candles, crepe mix, and now a rose wine all lean on that same cozy image. There have also been complaints about her products themselves. Some fans say they ordered items with fast shipping, only to find weeks later that a shipping label had never even been created, despite being told the order was already on its way. So on top of the copying claims, some customers are left wondering if the products they paid for even really left the warehouse. For a brand built on trust and warmth, that is not a great look. But when your biggest online moments keep getting compared to other creators, it raises a real question. Is any of it actually hers? Rumors and mocking comments don't prove anything on their own. But they keep piling up, and on a birthday where her team probably wanted good headlines, this is not the story anyone was hoping for. And that was only half of her bad day. Because while people online argued about flowers, a much bigger story about her husband was breaking in the background. This one involves real money. A lot of it. For years, Prince Harry has been part of a group suing Associated Newspapers, the publisher behind the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday. The claim leaned heavily on a man named Gavin Burrows, who once said he took part in shady, illegal digging for stories on behalf of the publisher. Harry, Elton John, his husband David Furnish, actress Elizabeth Hurley, and Baroness Doreen Lawrence were among those who joined the case, believing Burrows would be their star witness against the paper. But Burrows later turned around completely. He claimed his old statement was never really his own words, and said it had been put together by other people without him even knowing. He went further, appearing on television and calling the entire case the biggest scam in legal history. He described showing up in court by video link from overseas, saying he was too scared to appear in person. That alone was a serious blow to Harry's side of the case. What has come out just this week is even worse. New reporting, first shared by journalist Michael Gillard and followed up by writer Tom Sykes, points to a letter sent to the judge overseeing the case. According to that letter, Harry's own legal team knew Burrows had pulled his cooperation years before the case ever reached trial. Reports say the claimants were first made aware of this back in March 2022, right after Burrows was accused of showing up at a researcher's home and threatening him in front of his own family. Just 4 days after that ugly incident, Harry's lawyers filed the case anyway, and pushed forward as if nothing had happened. Burrows didn't help his own credibility much either. Witnesses described him showing up to give evidence flanked by a lawyer wearing shorts, leaning back in his chair, and mocking the lead barrister for the newspaper with the line, "You ain't got nothing." One of Harry's own lawyers reportedly wore a mohawk into court and seemed to enjoy the spotlight every time he walked in. It painted a picture of a case that looked more chaotic behind the scenes than anyone on Harry's side wanted the public to see. That is not the only red flag here. Just days before filing, the claimants applied for legal insurance worth £250,000 each. That cover was later raised to £1 million per person. But the publisher is now claiming legal costs of £34,800,000. Even with every bit of that insurance paid out in full, there is still a massive gap left uncovered. And if the insurance company decides important facts were kept from them when the policy was first written, reports suggest they may not have to pay out a single pound of it. This puts Harry in a genuinely rough spot. Baroness Lawrence, whose son was murdered years ago, has already been told by Harry personally that she won't owe anything, since he was the one who pulled her into the case in the first place. Elton John has made it clear publicly that he isn't planning to cover any extra legal costs either. That leaves the door wide open for millions in legal bills to fall straight onto Harry alone, at a time when his public image and his finances are already being watched closely by everyone. It's worth remembering how this whole case started in the first place. Harry and the other claimants said the lawsuit was about privacy, about stopping newspapers from digging into their personal lives without permission. But critics have pointed out the irony of that for years now. Harry wrote an entire memoir detailing deeply personal family moments most people would never share. Meghan sat for a lengthy televised interview about her private life and her family. Both of them have appeared in multiple documentary series showing off their day-to-day world. So when the same people say they are fighting in court to protect their privacy, plenty of people online are struggling to buy it. This also feeds into a wider pattern people keep bringing up about the couple. Harry and Meghan have been involved in lawsuit after lawsuit since leaving royal life, going after tabloids, photographers, and now this massive privacy case together. Some critics say all that legal action makes them look important, surrounded by lawyers and publicists. Others argue it just keeps them stuck in the exact headlines they claim to be running from. Either way, the couple that once said they wanted to step back from public drama keeps ending up in the middle of it, one courtroom at a time. There is also the bigger question of what happens next for Harry's place within his own family. Reports suggest King Charles has been slowly warming back up to his younger son, even as staff inside the royal household are said to be unhappy about the idea of ever working closely with Harry again. Whether that relationship improves or falls apart further may now depend partly on how this case, and this massive bill, gets resolved. Meanwhile, Meghan quietly celebrated turning 45 with a small circle of people close to her. She shared a couple of black and white photos of herself jumping into a pool with balloons floating in the background, and thanked her followers for their birthday messages online. It was simple, low-key, and honestly kind of overshadowed by the noise surrounding her that same week. That contrast says a lot about where things stand right now. A birthday that could have been filled with celebration instead became background noise to too much louder stories. There's also a sharper theory floating around about why this timing feels so brutal for Meghan. Turning 45 is supposed to feel settled, confident, and secure. Instead, this birthday arrived with critics online calling her unoriginal, and with her husband's biggest legal fight possibly about to cost the family tens of millions of pounds. Some are calling it karma for years of choices they don't agree with. Others simply feel for her, saying nobody deserves to have their birthday buried under bad press. Either way, it is hard to ignore just how loud this week has been compared to how she probably hoped to spend it. So where does this leave the Sussexes going forward? Meghan is trying to build a lifestyle empire one video and one product drop at a time, but she keeps getting compared to other creators instead of standing out clearly on her own. Harry is fighting a legal battle that was supposed to prove he could take on powerful newspapers and win, but new reports suggest his own team may have pushed forward knowing their key witness was already gone. Both stories point to the exact same bigger picture. The Sussex brand keeps finding new ways to end up in headlines, and not always the kind their team was hoping for. Whether this was simply bad timing or something deeper, one thing feels clear watching all of this unfold. Turning 45 was supposed to be about looking back with pride at everything built so far. Instead, Meghan spent her birthday watching two separate stories unfold that could end up shaping how people see her and her husband for a long time to come.